Hello everybody, welcome to IT Security Labs live stream. And in today's video, I just want to talk about a few things that we can learn from a home lab, especially a cybersecurity lab. I'm going to cover a few things here like what is a cybersecurity lab, what do we use it for, and how do you get started in building one. And then at the end, I can show you a quick demonstration of what you can do with your own home lab. This is an unscheduled live stream on our Facebook group, and I figured I can show you guys what I've been doing on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. And then if some people really want to get started with your home lab, I also want to cover what you need to know about home labs and how to get started. And then I can show you what we have been doing and what we are learning here. This is mostly geared towards those who want to learn about network security monitoring or ethical hacking. So if you're an ethical hacker, you need to know what the defenders are looking at. And if you want to be a defender, you need to know what the attackers are doing. So you get to learn a little bit of everything here. And as you can see, right now I have my dashboard Grafana, which is my favorite tool, monitoring my security onion. And so far, security onion is the center of our lab because this is where we monitor and detect attacks in our lab. And this is very crucial. It's between security onion network sensor and our firewall. And as you will notice here, I have a OpenSense firewall. This is a next gen firewall that I'm running in this lab. Let me move myself around a little. And this is a really wonderful firewall. Open source solutions, everything is open source that we use in this lab. So I'm going to share with you what the process is like for building a home lab, what you really need to know, and also why it's very important. And this thing is actually live right now. As you can see, it's moving. It's actually detecting. It has been in testing mode. So if you're just joining us, I just wanted to give us a quick overview of what having a home lab is like. So you joined this Facebook group called IT Security Labs for a reason. And I'm going to show you what IT Security Labs is all about. Why do we do this? We don't just talk. We are not one of those groups that's created and is out there. We are a living, breathing, actually thing. And we have labs and we take what we do very seriously, because if you are serious about having a career in cybersecurity and you're starting out with very little skills, this can be one of the ways to get you in. And if you show up to an employer with a next-gen firewall that is monitoring a lab environment like this, I think you are more likely to impress them. So that's what we're doing here. All right, so let's get started. How do we learn things from a home lab? But before we get even there, what is a home lab? How do you get started? What is it that we are talking about here? When I first started this group, IT Security Labs, I wanted somewhere, an IT community where we can hang out and do hands-on things. I was tired of people just talking about memes. I'm a big fan of memes. I post a lot of them. But I also wanted hands-on skills that are solid, that I can show up to an interview, to an employer and say, hey, this is what I know. This is what I've learned. And that's why we actually have this channel here. So let me just check here very quickly. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. I don't have a way to test this. But so our lab is simple. The two things that are critical to us is understanding how to work this firewall and its importance in our lab as security people. One of the best tools that we need to understand is our firewall. I set up with pfSense at first, then I moved to OpenSense because I really wanted the next gen features. I'm making a video that is coming this weekend on how I set this one up under $100, actually $60 on hardware and everything. Really decent hardware for a firewall. So firewall is going to be our main thing here. How to integrate this thing to work with Active Directory, to analyze protocols. Like right now you're looking at my TOS classification and the machines that are in this lab. This is one of the most important things. You cannot call yourself a security defender, a security professional without a good grasp of how firewalls work. I think it's very critical to know what is a firewall, how does it work, what kind of logs does it produce, what does it look like when it's under attack, what does it look like when it's detecting things, why is it important to protect your perimeter before attackers can get in. So that's why we focus on this here. And I moved to OpenSense. So if you are making the lab with us on YouTube, I'll show you a video this weekend on how I got this to work, and it's awesome. We can switch to it from Security Onion. Our next highlight of the lab is our intrusion detection capability. And we want to be able to detect when attackers are in this lab. And that's why we deployed Security Onion. And Security Onion is a wonderful tool. If you haven't heard of it, it's an intrusion detection system. You can deploy it inline or offline. You can tap your network and get data to Security Onion. That's what I'm doing here. If you attended our live stream on Sunday, I showed you how I do this. But pretty much we are sniffing traffic. As you can see, I don't have anything exciting going on over the past 2 hours, really. It's just boring stuff. Maybe this possible malware here, which I know is really nothing. I was actually playing around with it. So this is our second highlight of the lab. So it goes from firewall, in this case, next-gen firewall in a lab, to Security Onion. And the beauty of this thing is all these things are free, 100% free. You just need to put the time in setting them up and learning how they work. That's why having a lab is going to be very important. So again, this is another component of Security Onion, having visibility, being able to see, being able to understand what you're looking at. When you're looking at network security data, what does it look like? What kind of noise do attackers generate in our lab? How do I detect it? What kind of rules can I create? Those are the things that we focus on. But before we even get into the weeds of this, we want to get started so you are brand new to cybersecurity. If you're just joining us, we are going through what a home lab is like and how to use it to learn cybersecurity skills. And I'm just covering the components in our lab that we are setting up on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing to our IT Security Labs channel. I show you how to set this lab up all the way. So where do you get started? This was me several years ago. I was at help desk. I didn't really know much about security. I knew I wanted to work in security, and I had applied for entry-level security jobs, but I didn't get any phone calls. So how do you really get started? And I started looking around. I started reading blogs online and people saying for you to actually make it in the cybersecurity skill industry, you need to have a lot of experience. So I did spend some time working as a sysadmin, as a network administrator, but even as a sysadmin, it was still hard for me to break into cybersecurity. So that's where the idea of having a lab was planted in me by Daniel Misler on his blog post. And one of the things that he talks about is knowing what you want to do and really which positions you want. So if you're just getting started in cybersecurity, this is where you need to start, having sort of a general idea. I understand a lot of people will be confused on where to get started, but this right here, a job board, it doesn't have to be Indeed.com. It can be any of the other job boards. Go to the job board, put your location, and look for jobs that you are interested in. If you are motivated by money, you can even look at the salary ranges. But I don't think there's anything wrong being motivated by money. In fact, it's a good motivator if you can actually execute. So look for jobs that you're interested in. For me, I wanted to be a security engineer. So this is where you get started. And you need to do these things. There's no shortcuts here. Find out what are employers looking for, right? Where do you lack? What skills do you need? So get started here. Let's pick one that looks interesting. This one is too specific to Splunk, so let's move on. Here's a generic one, security engineer. $45 to $60 an hour. That looks like a decent amount of money. What are the employers looking for, right? Now we need to answer that question right now. Let's move myself out of the way. All right, so this one, and let's see if this is a good one. You need to look at, okay, what kind of a person are they looking for? What skills are they looking for? And in this case, they have a monitoring here, which is interesting. Coordinate and perform daily, weekly monitoring, maintenance, and monitoring tasks to ensure health and security. Oh, there we go. These people are looking for someone who can ensure the health and security of all infrastructure systems. This is one skill that I can tell you. If you deploy our lab that we are working on, you will get some of these skills. For example, you want to monitor the health and security of the infrastructure. We can do both of those things. To monitor the health, here is our good friend. I'm a big fan of Grafana. You can monitor system monitoring like base operating systems using Grafana. I have done a lot of videos on our channel on how to monitor just CPU usage and everything. That's indicators of compromises that you can have. So they're looking for someone who can monitor security, the health and security of the infrastructure. You can deploy a security onion like that. So this is a good example of where now you know to be a security engineer, at least one of the skills that is required, at least for this one, is someone who can monitor infrastructure. You also see patterns of things like additional skills like knowing the LAN, WAN, and Windows, networking and IP, Active Directory. We have Active Directory in our environment. We're deploying that. Scripting are also beneficial. So if you look at 15 of these jobs, you realize that there's a pattern of skills that employers are looking for. So that's a good place to get started. List the skills that are required for the job that you're after. And once you do that, now we can just reverse engineer the whole process. Okay, how do I get there? How do I know how to use Active Directory, right? How do I know how to use virtualization infrastructure? Then you can deploy something like this. This is what we are setting up. Again, you can set this one up for free, not necessarily with vCenter, but just with ESXi. They give you a free trial version of ESXi. You can deploy this for free. You will learn a lot of virtualization, which is required to be able to have machines that are communicating on the network. You understand a little bit of networking. So for a lot of people that I talk to, they ask me like, wait. Time out. You just can't just jump in and start deploying virtualization, scripting. Yes, you're right. You can just wake up and learn these things, right? You need to start somewhere. And here's a quick tip. I'm not sponsored by these people. Sign up for a Pluralsight account. I think Pluralsight and YouTube are the two important resources, at least for me, that are very cheap. Pick one topic at a time. Say you want to learn about virtualization. There's short tutorials. Pluralsight courses are straight to the point. In 2 hours, you have a good understanding of virtualization. Then spin up this in your lab very quickly. So what you can do, 2 tips to keep yourself motivated and sharpening those skills. Sign up for courses on Pluralsight or YouTube. Follow some YouTubers that have really great courses out there and follow the whole course. And then understand whatever you understand, implement it. And during that time, you realize that you pick on a lot of skills, and before you know it, this will become second nature to you. And another tip during that process is look at certifications. I think that even if you don't have experience, if you pursue a certification with the intent to learn and while you're labbing, you benefit a lot. For me, it was going for Cisco certifications, CCNA Cyber Operation, CCNP, getting a good grasp in networking, and CISSP that I went for. So that is where the trick is. And really, you don't necessarily need to have years and years of experience to actually learn. You just need to be motivated to do it. So now you know the skills that employers are looking for. You know how to learn, pursue a certification, or sign up for Pluralsight, Udemy, or YouTube. Follow a series like mine here on YouTube where we're setting up a lab. I show you everything step by step. Commit to it. You have to want it. And by the way, the biggest ingredient here, if you're someone who thinks you can just take a shortcut and end up as a security engineer or an infrastructure engineer somewhere, this industry is definitely, unfortunately, not for you. You need to be able to put the effort. You need to take some time to learn things that you're not comfortable with. Take some time to actually want to learn those things, and it takes a while. So without any motivation, you're just going to waste a lot of time and not succeed at all. So after you know what you want and you actually have some motivation, whatever, money or success, whatever is motivating you, you can then start learning, right, in a lab or pursuing a certification. Now, this is where things get interesting, right? How do you then get to a point where you are just deploying all these things in your home environment? Now you're sniffing some traffic and you have security onion like what I have here. And how do you get here? The idea is really you start somewhere and you start small. You don't necessarily need to have a security onion running tomorrow. You can start by learning virtualization for the next month or two. You can start by learning how Linux works, basics of Linux. Spend 6 hours on a course, really dedicate some time, read a book or something. And as you slowly build on these skills, you will actually pick more things. And that's exactly how this actually is going to help us. Someone says DevOps. Yes. For me, it's mostly DevSecOps. So I use tools like Git for version control, Artifactory for saving Docker containers, and what are the other two? For automating container creation, you can use Terraform on the cloud. Those things, you can also learn them as you go. And the main point here that I wanted to emphasize is that once you have a good understanding of what you want, then use something like draw.io, right? Let's be realistic here. Let's design our network. We're just getting started here. So here's a simple design that I just put together in like 10 minutes, and I've been using it since. We want to start from the internet, have a firewall. I think that for anyone, I don't really mind which part of security you are, even if you're in sales. You just have a good understanding of what this thing is. So you need to implement a firewall, be it virtual or not. Maybe a switch, maybe a router here. It doesn't really matter the most. Then in this case, this lab that you're looking at is being virtualized in a Dell R720. This is a little overkill for a lot of people, but this is some serious stuff. We're talking about you taking your life very seriously, you wanting to learn virtualization, not in VirtualBox, but actually implementing like Proxmox or VMware, which is used in the industry. This is you having a real access point, having control over this access point and configuring it properly, having a switch, maybe a layer 2, layer 3 switch, maybe tinkering with some VLANs here to segregate your traffic, sniffing this traffic, trying to understand what it looks like, and then having some objectives, like our goal here is to do some network security monitoring, maybe automate a lot of these things. So then you find yourself having a lab that comes to life, and it takes years. I've had my lab for over 6 years, and it has evolved. I've destroyed the lab, I've brought it up, I've created it again, then destroyed it again. And that's just how things go, right? And once you have a lab, you now need to come up with a strategy. How do I use this thing? I'm just collecting a bunch of events. I have a next generation firewall that is open source. You didn't think that was a thing, right? It is. You have a security onion intrusion detection. We even have maybe some Grafana stuff going on in here. Windows 10 client. And in this case, I even have a shell shock client in here. I just deployed this new machine right now called Raven. It's a vulnerable VM. So I can show you here, let's open this Raven, and I can show you how you can quickly learn how to use this lab. Say if our goal was to learn to be a pen tester, let's find out. We deployed a vulnerable machine in our lab, which is segregated from everything, by the way. We have our good friend here, Kali Linux, waiting to really fire this vulnerable machine. We have Security Onion, which is sniffing the traffic once we start the attack. And we have our firewall, which is also part of this whole shebang. So if I want this to work, I will probably need to disable content filtering here, just in case this firewall starts dropping my packets. That's something you learn as you have a lab, right? We have a next-gen firewall. This firewall is meant to block things. Right now, with you see this blocks section here, it will show me what is being blocked. If I go to the web, it will show me all the web that's traffic. But I can design my attack so that I can just attack internally and the traffic doesn't see the firewall. Those are the things that you then begin to learn how like network traffic flows and everything. Okay, so now that we have a machine called Raven, we know, look at this, look at the beauty of this. Raven is in our lab. Our lab just happens to have Active Directory running on this machine called DC2. And on this Active Directory, we are running an important service called DHCP. So let's go and find out what is it. So if I go to my console, Let's go to my summary here. So now we just want to figure out what IP address did we get from DHCP. You see the component here that satisfies what most employers are looking for, people who understand Active Directory. So let's go in here and find out what IP address was given to Raven. And here is our machine that's joined to our domain that gave that machine an IP address. Now this is the fun part, right? We're using this lab. We're not just setting it up. We are using it for fun things. Our goal is to attack a machine, but before we attack it, we can run a net discover and find what IP address it is, or we can sign into our Active Directory here and figure out what IP address did this Active Directory give this machine. So let's find out. So here's our Active Directory environment. If you haven't seen Active Directory, it might be a good idea for you to set up an Active Directory environment, because a lot of people out there are using a version of Active Directory, be it on Azure or some on-prem. So you might as well do yourself a favor and learn Active Directory if, say, pen testing is part of your deal, because pen testing Active Directory is one of the most important skills that most pen testers have. All right, so I went to Active Directory. I wanted to go to DHCP. So let's go to DHCP. You can use this here if you wanted. All right, so here's our DHCP server for the lab, right? And as you can see here, there's a better way to do this. IPv4. What we are looking for are the leases, address leases. What did we give all these machines? So here are some leases. The machine that we're after is called Raven. It's 192.168.38.20. So Active Directory DHCP is working. So now we know the target is 192.168.38.20. Oh, thank you for the feedback. I appreciate you guys. All right, so now we know the machine to attack is 192.168.38.20. So let's go to Kali Linux. You see how dynamic this can be. So I'm running Kali Linux 2019.1. And let's make sure that this Kali Linux is on the same network as the Active Directory machine. Now we're talking about understanding how the LAN network works. And these are the skills that you gain from having a lab. Now you need to make sure that this is on the same network as that machine, or at least there need to be a route to get to it. And let me show you what we can do here. All right, let's become root here, and some Linux skills here. 192.168.38. We just want to ping our victim machine. I think it was 20. Can we get there? We can get there. So guess what? It's now fair game. Let's get started here. Let's get started by attacking a vulnerable machine called Raven. But before I start attacking it, let me show you where I got it. You can get the vulnerable machines for free from VulnHub. So here we are at vulnhub.com. You can download it from here. Once you download it from here, import it into our lab. And once it's in our lab, it's on the same network. Fire up a Kali Linux machine. And by the way, we are also sniffing this traffic in our security onion. So we are going to be performing an attack. Security onion is going to be capturing the attack. We have so much to do here. And by the way, you have so much fun things to do. You're going to have fun attacking a machine. After that, you can have a dessert. Come in here and look at the attack. How much noise did I generate with my GoBuster? How much noise did I generate with that PHP script that I uploaded to my victim? How much visibility did I have? Which rules fired when I did that? That to me is worth more than a college degree. When you can actually be self-motivated enough to really be in charge of your own destiny and your own education, other than saying, oh, this is what they want me to learn, let me just stay there. Now you're taking initiative. You're taking it further from the CEH certification, from the CISSP. You're now going into like real curiosity mode where you can actually learn. All right, so thank you all for being here. I appreciate you being here. So now that we have, I was here where we have a vulnerable machine that we just put in our lab called Raven 1. We downloaded it from VulnHub. We have Security Onion sniffing the traffic, meaning intercepting and not intercepting, listening to the traffic. We have Kali Linux ready to fire. So What are we waiting for here? Let's go ahead and get this started. This is where I can feel my blood pumping and say, this is where the fun begins, right? So let's fire nmap here. Minus sv minus sc 192.168.38.20. What we're just doing here is a quick nmap scan. I know a lot of people have their own options, but for me, I'm going for service versions using scripts. That's my go-to. In this case, I'm just going over on the top 1,000 ports. And as you can see, I got some results, guys. I can see what services are running. This doesn't necessarily mean they are all vulnerable. This just shows me what's running. And I'm now trying to figure out, as an attacker, how do I get in there? So now I can say, oh, I have port 80 running. I have port 22. I have 111 open. Okay. So this is interesting, right? With port 80, for me, if you are brand new to this kind of things, when I first started, I had a OneNote, Microsoft OneNote, a cheat sheet, I call it. Now, I don't reference it anymore as I used to, but if you don't know like the methodology, like your own way of doing things, saying, oh, I found port 80, what to do? What do I do? Well, we know that the first thing that we just do right away is, let's go find out what's on port 80. Let's go to the browser and find out what's on port 80. Other things that you can do with port 80, you can run derb or GoBuster or other tools that you can use. So let me show you what my cheat sheet is. That sort of tells me where to go, because I mean, what do you do if you don't know what you're doing, right? Here is my hacking cheat sheet, and this can be very, very beneficial if you're just getting started or if you don't know what you're doing. On this Facebook page, we have a document, a PDF document. Check it out on the document section. That document has all the steps that you need to do. There's also links to Got Milk and other GitHub pages of people who put together sort of like a methodology documentation. But here's, for me, I start with nmap, and I have links here. You see this? This is where I used to go. This is a Medium document that I referenced, that I still do. Here's a quick scan, and I actually have my cheat sheet. Here's what I do. If I wanted to specify like an interface, here's what I do. So you don't have to do it again. If I wanted to go for UDP, did I specify my UDP here? Oh, I think I had another one where I had UDP. So this can be very helpful. Now I know if next time I see another machine, I can just come in here and copy. So now we ran our nmap. Let's refresh here. Let's put this to 2 hours. All right. We ran an nmap scan. The question is, did this thing catch it? Because we need to make sure that this is actually seeing my traffic. So maybe after a little bit here, Security Onion should pick my nmap scan and see that we did something that is not supposed to be there. By the way, nmap is very loud. If you just run nmap in somebody's environment and they have even the minimal monitoring in place, they'll pick it up right away. That's something you as a security professional need to be aware of. Say, if you wanted to become an ethical hacker, a pen tester, you need to be aware of how much noise am I generating. So this might be able to help us. So now that we ran our nmap, let's check out the site. What do we have on the port 80, 192.168.38.20? I showed you my cheat sheet. So now here's what we have. This is the site that is running on our victim machine. So now we're getting our juices interested, right? For me, here I'm like, where do I get started? Do I start just clicking around and seeing what they have? Here is where a lot of people who are interested in ethical hacking needs to spend most of their time. Patience and having a good eye and reading everything, because your way into hacking this target could be as simple as the version that is specified at the end, right somewhere down here, that says running WordPress version 5 or whatever. And you could just go there and off you go. You owned the whole organization. When I have a website that looks like this, I'm looking for interesting information like about us. Is there anything interesting about this company that they can give us? This is sort of like some passive recon. We're not really actively interacting with our target, like running any tools. We're just really using open source intelligence called OSINT. Then the most interesting one is the teams. What I've learned from doing a lot of ethical hacking CTFs is that there is so much you can use this information for. For example, on Hack the Box, when I was completing the 50 or plus machines that I was working on, you can create usernames from this, right? From all these people here. You can create a usernames list. I mean, you can say maybe E. Davis, R. Cooper, and then Davis E, or you can guess people's email addresses for social engineering. Oh, how do people normally generate emails? Maybe it's ethel.davis@ravensecurity.com. Or you can find people's email addresses right here. On the site here, you click on somebody's profile and voila, there is their email address. You figure out, oh, this person actually works in IT. Oh, what a better way than send them maybe an email telling them to reset their password. Let's see how much of know before security, social engineering do they understand. Maybe send them a Dropbox reset password. Maybe send them some macros or something like that, for ethical hacking purposes, of course. So there's more you can do once you get into your targeting, and don't take everything for granted. Don't just run into running GoBuster and Dirbuster and Nikto and Sputter, those cool tools. You can get your way into this target here. But hey, we know that this is a capture the flag machine, so we can do more here than just looking at these things. I just wanted to emphasize that if you're going to be an ethical hacker, if you're going to be hired to do this as a day-to-day job, you spend time really looking at this. Now that we know about these people, the team, maybe we go find out their LinkedIn pages. What do they have on LinkedIn? If they work in IT, did they specify some technologies that they're using? That sort of narrows down my scope now. Oh, they say they use Go for programming. They use Python. Interesting. So I'm going to be maybe looking for Python applications that are running, Go applications that are running, something like interesting like that. So, but in this case, since this is our machine here, let's go ahead and run the tools. Because that's the interesting thing, right? We have a version here of Apache 2.4. If you're getting started, you most likely would do maybe a search exploit here, find out is there an exploit for this particular version of Apache? In this case, is this website running on a platform that is useless and vulnerable like WordPress? If you see WordPress, now you need to scan for vulnerable plugins. In this case, I think that's what we're going to see. So let's go ahead and actually start attacking. And during this process, you are taking screenshots. You are actually monitoring things to make sure that things work. So let's run one of my favorite tools. I hope it runs. Sputter. This is what got me excited about ethical hacking when I was just getting started. I loved throwing sputtered things on Hack the Box especially. I see that there's a web app running. I'll fire up Sputter and let's give it a minute here to load. Then we can look at what does it look like. I mean, it's all like this movie, like, see, there we go. All right, so let's put our target here in Sputter. This will also do an nmap. .38.20. I know some people who are very good at this, they are rolling their eyes saying, whoa, wait, let's not do that. But let's make as much noise as we can here because I want to detect. If this is not detecting, I want to find out why. All right, so I said last 2 hours here. This is not working. And here's where the part where you need to really know that a lab is not all happy and jolly and stuff. This is not detecting. What in the world? Why is it not doing? I should have seen my nmap scan here. I know that because it actually works. Let's check in here. Let's check Suricata. Did Suricata see something that interface didn't? We're just checking our security onion. This is an intrusion detection system. This should detect any types of attacks that we see there. Victor, how's it going, man? Thanks for joining the stream. I'm just having some ethical hacking session here. I appreciate everybody who is here. We have a lot of people who joined, a lot of people who like these things. So here is Suricata, I don't think I'll see anything here. Let's check our switch, right? Make sure that we are actually sending this traffic. If you attended our live stream last time, you probably saw me do this. Here's a switch and how I'm spanning this traffic. This is just a simple layer 2 switch that is just sending a mirror of the traffic to Security Onion. So let's exit here and I'll show you what it looks like. Let's go to my monitoring statistics, and I'm expecting there is my mirror traffic. So I'm sniffing the right traffic here. What in the world, Security Onion? All right, so I'm monitoring this traffic here. There we go. I think it is. Let's go and make sure that the configuration is actually on point. And here's the port mirroring setting that we're doing here. All right, so we're mirroring these ports here to port 48. Yeah. All right, so let me refresh this just in case there is something going on with Security Onion. All right, while that is happening, let's finish our attack because that's more exciting. Let's make too much noise here. All right, so we ran Sparta, which is a cool tool for those who are just getting started. Here is what we found. And the good thing is it's in a nice, easy to read. We don't need to remember the syntax. We saw some CVEs are showing here. These CVEs indicate possible exploits. Not all of them can be exploited, of course. But here, as you can see, I mean, we have a very vulnerable machine here. We can see, let's find more information here. Here is a good list of all the CVEs that at least Sparta thinks are vulnerable. And our good friend Nikto here also scanned. And I don't see a lot of things that are interesting from Nikto. But here, with these possibilities here. So if this was actually working properly, I have screenshots here. So this is also good for reporting. You can take screenshots of this and they look nicer. If you also wanted to make sure that you show some of these, if you ran this in a production environment, every single one of these is worth investigating and making sure that, you know, they are not something that attackers can get into. But right now it looks like the common denominator is just this open SSH here and the scripts that we ran. And let's look at this one, the vulners. Looks like we even have an exploit here. So we have a huge attack surface and there's a few people that joins. Oh, thank you. I appreciate your kindness. All right. So before we even finish, let's run one more tool and make sure that we see interesting things here. And this is going to be our friend GoBuster. And using my cheat sheet from GoBuster, I'm just going to copy. I showed you what my cheat sheet looks like. And the command for GoBuster that I have there is this one. And this is going to be HTTP 192.168. Come on. .38.20. So we're going to brute force a bunch of directories here. This is a lot of noise. You probably don't want to do this. You want to be more stealth if you're in an engagement with the client. All right. Here it says unable to connect to, oh, of course. We can't connect to something like that. And what now? 192.168.38.20. Let's find out why it doesn't like my URL. GoBuster URL. Yeah, that looks good. Unable to connect to that. Let's check our syntax here. Let me show you the cheat sheet. GoBuster. GoBuster dir. There we go. I need to do it this way. I need to say go bastard there. They changed this. The old one used to work, the one that I just ran. And this is the syntax of running go bastard. That's why you want to have something like this as a cheat sheet, so that when things go south like what it's doing for me, you can just quickly go and find out. So let's go back. I need to make sure there minus u. Okay, let's go and fix that. You know, VMware Fusion, we go to Kali. Let's show that. All right, so here's the thing. Yeah, it did. 192.168.38.20. Let's check here. 192.168.38.20. What? Let's see. The colon on before the IP address. Did I just... Am I speaking too fast, faster than I can type? You see what happens when you're thinking too much. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate it. I'm like, I've run this so many times. Okay, so now we're brute forcing some directories. What do we expect from Security Onion? We expect Security Onion to go crazy here. Security Onion will be like showing a bunch of logs about us brute forcing directories. Because what we're pretty much doing is with GoBuster, we're using a word list. In this case, we're using medium 2.3.txt. And testing every word that is in there against our target. They're saying, do you have this directory? Do you have this directory? Do you have this directory? And oh my God, that can cause a denial of service. And here is how you can protect yourself as a defender. If you deploy a web app or any application, set up so that if it sees these requests, like 500 requests in 2 minutes, this application should be able to automatically block. In fact, our trusted friend here, this is a next-gen firewall. This should pick up the attack. This should actually be where you really tell it, hey, we want to make sure that people don't even make it to our application, but God forbid they make it to our application past our next-gen firewall. Then the application needs to just kick them out, maybe time out for 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Then if they do it again, time out for 5 minutes. If they do it again, block the IP address for an hour. That helps to slow down attackers, but also detect, have some alerting in place. If your application is critical to your business and somebody's running automated tools like what I'm doing here, you want to know, right? As a security person, you want to know. And right now we're just stressing out our system. This, if done wrong, can cause a denial of service. This can put a server down, and if your business relies on it, you lose money. And guess what happens when business loses money and they realize that the IT people didn't do their job? Usually they fire IT people. And unfortunately, that's the nature of the things. Business loses money, find out that you were not doing the minimum that you can. They hire the third party company comes and say, yeah, I don't know who you hired. They don't even know that they can block this. Then they begin to question your integrity. So this is what we learn from having a home lab, so we don't get fired by making stupid mistakes. All right. So now that we have GoBuster here, we are not really seeing a lot of interesting things except for our good friend here /WordPress. And we know from doing a bunch of these things that WordPress is where money is at when you're doing things like this. WordPress, there's so many things that can go wrong with WordPress. Plugins that are free that people just have. As you can see here, we have a WordPress site. In this case, this website doesn't look good. This looks terrible. If you have been doing capture the flag machines, you know why this is happening. I'll let you in. This is something that you learn from doing this so many times. This happens when this thing is resolving a DNS name. Something like this. If you view the page source here, I bet you this thing is resolving a name. Let's see. Here we go. It's called raven.local. Right here. So it's resolving to HTTP raven.local, and because of that, it gives us this ugly looking thing here. So we can fix that. Let's go ahead and fix it. by doing vi/etc/host. And I'll let you in on a trick. As you can see, I have a big list here. These are all machines on Hack the Box. And I've done this so many times, as you can see, listed here, some of it. And did I have raven.local here at some point? No, I don't. But let's cannibalize on one of these. Raven.local, and it's 30.20. Escape. Save. Now watch what happens when you go back here and go to http raven.local. Boom. It's now fixing actually the thing. And the importance of this discovery right here is now you can do more enumeration, more information gathering. Now we can go and do some domain enumeration here, which is a whole ball game. And people who do bug bounties love domain enumerations. You can find more subdomains here that might be interesting, like development subdomains that people are just careless and are developing things and they don't realize that that's an attacker's way in. So we have the raven.local and we have a WordPress site. So what do we do with WordPress? We go after WordPress using WP scan. And this is, let me find a cheat sheet for WP scan, which might help me here. So we're just going to find WP scan and we need to get some form of foothold on this machine to make sure that things work. Otherwise, this is not going to be fun. We need to attack this machine and get into, at least get some root or something like that. So let me find WP scan usage. You're not expected to know this, how to use WP scan, but WP scan in a quick way is just a way to enumerate WordPress for known vulnerabilities. And here's the kicker. As of like, was it this year or some time, they changed it. You now need to have an API to actually run and enumerate for vulnerabilities. And the API is free, as far as I'm concerned, for like specific number of attacks that you can do. And for what I do, the free API works well. But here's a quick skeleton WP scan that you can run. Let's clear that. WP scan is saying, hey, WordPress scan, here's a URL 192.168.30.20/WordPress. We can put the fully qualified domain name here and with the chain EU. This is not going to find vulnerabilities because I don't have my API specified. But however, what happened? WP scan dash does not like my dash. This happens all the time, so you need to make sure. Is it dash like that? Let's find out. Yeah, it didn't like my copy paste. So now, do you want to update now? No, I don't want to. I just want to run it now. So now it started the WP scan against my target. We are now scanning for WordPress. At least if I had my API specified here, we'll be able to see if there's any known vulnerabilities. So this is some of those interesting things. As you can see, I didn't find anything. So you need to specify the API. I'm not going to show you live here because I don't want you eating part of my API. Because if I show you, what people can do is copy it and use my API for their scans. And then I'll try to scan and I'll be out of API usages. So I won't show you that part. However, if you run it, it says you can get free API and get 50 daily requests. So if I show you my API, you might get my 50 daily requests. But next time I'll create a fake account that I can use for demonstration purposes for you guys. There's a question: what if say Linux is enforced? Can I still pen test an attack? Well, that depends on the exposed services, right? If they've say Linux enforced but they are exposing, say, port 80, you can still exploit the vulnerabilities. You might have some limitations on what you can and can't do, but in this case, we can. All right, let me see here. We have a lot of people who joined today and one angry person. I might have said something that rubbed them the wrong way. That's okay. All right, so now that we've done all these things, let me see. Let me check my security onion here. See, how much noise did I make here? Because I'm interested in seeing security onion in action. Oh, yeah. This is the fun part, guys. If anything, here's my next gen firewall. To be clear, this firewall is not seeing all the traffic for my attack. This is east-west traffic within the lab. It's not leaving the lab, so it's not being seen by this firewall. So this firewall is pretty useless right now because the attacker is already in the network. We can use it later when we can attack from outside and see if it blocks and what it says. We can use it later. But look at our trusted friend, Security Onion. We have made too much noise. I just refreshed that. Should have showed. We have made too much noise. What? No. Something is not right. Let's remove all this noise here. Security Onion. And let's. There we go. Now we're talking. So we have not done anything really terrible. I mean, terribly bad here. We have just did a bunch of scans, go buster and all that stuff. But look at how much noise we made and what we did. And this is where I think if you go to an employer and you tell them, last night I was doing WP scan, I ran Sputter, and I was able to capture the traffic with Security Onion, and I saw that this rule is the one that caught GoBuster, and this is what happened. You are more likely to stand out than the 20 people that showed up and said, I went and set for a certified ethical hacker certification, or I did Security Plus certification. I think you are more likely to be taken more seriously by anyone who knows a thing or two about learning in cybersecurity. So here's the noise that we generated by just scanning, and this is how we use the lab for learning. Now we're curious, what is this all about? As you can see, we didn't have much if you were here from the beginning. Now look at all this noise. Look at what we just did. We caused some serious noise during our attack. So where to start? Someone tell me, which one do you guys want me to look at? Do you want me to, which one should I pick here? Maybe I should stop. Should we look at the biggest one, the biggest culprit that looks like it caused a lot of high? Let's sort them by severity here. Here are all the high. If this happens and you are the one who is hired to be the IT security person for this environment, you need to set this up so that if this happens, your phone wakes you up. Whether you're sleeping, whether you're at a wedding, whether you are somewhere, you need to know this is terrible. Too much noise. If it's somebody who ran this in your network, they need to have a serious talk. But if this is being done in your internal network, on your local area network by someone malicious, you need to know about this. Your phone, your page or whatever needs to buzz you. So this is what we have here. Let's see. I'm curious what people think. Which one should we look at? Because I can't choose. For example, this is just a telltale sign that we made too much noise. We made way too much noise here. Oh, and by the way, look who got caught. Nikto. Nikto got caught right in the act, even by name. This is some naming and shaming that's being done by Security Onion. They even know that this traffic was generated by a tool called Nikto. So maybe just learning about some tools and pointing them at people's targets is not a good idea after all, right? Because they can tell right away. And you can also tell that Nmap was picked up multiple times. By name as well. Nmap user agent was picked right here. Let's make use of this traffic in a more useful way, right? Let's use our friend Kibana. Second favorite tool from Grafana for me. And I show you guys how to set this lab up on my YouTube channel. So I have a banner here that is telling you to subscribe if you haven't. Let's look at our LS interface here. Let's change this to the last. Oh, so I'm clicking too fast. I'm going to change this timer here to the last 2 hours. 1 hour. We have too much noise going on here. Change this to last 1 hour, please. All right. So now we're just filtering the traffic. Oh. And as you can see, this is the traffic from the last hour. And right now I just want to see the alerts. And here's the classification. Possible CVE attempt in headers. Then let's look at anything interesting. By the count here, this looks like GoBuster was caught brute forcing some directories. So I'm drilling down into this one. You see, by just clicking on it, it opens a new tab. That's security onion now in action. Detection in action. We're now seeing what can we detect. A lot of companies, small to medium companies, don't even have this much visibility in their own companies. So if you can set this one up, that's good. Two things now that we need to look at. Okay, who is the source IP address? Who is the destination? The destination here, we can tell that this is our victim machine that we were sending just a bunch of enumeration script. 192.168.38.133, is that really Kali? Let's find out. Let's remove this. Oh, let's remove that and this. If we do an IPA, Kali, is it you really 133? Yeah. So Kali got caught 33 to this. So to see this many count in a very short period of time to one target, this is a quick indicator of an attack. And of course, we caught it. Let's really dig down into what does this look like? How much noise are we talking about here? What rules did we fire? What does it look like? It's all going to port 80 to this destination. Like I told you, this is just a brute force that we did. And we can go and actually drill down in here. The rule that fired. And here's the interesting part. Oh, this is actually an interesting one. I spoke too early. This is not GoBuster. This is a different one. But we got caught here trying to get in. And by this rule right here. So by learning this, now there's so many ways you can go here. A lot of people spend their entire career on this part alone, detection, like creating these rules, analyzing attacks. A lot of people spend their entire career on the attacking part, where all they do is pen test and give people advice on how to be secure. A lot of people spend their entire career just engineering the part where we are capturing the data. Just the engineering part of how do you deploy a sensor, how do you create the rules, how do we detect, and that's all they do day in, day out. So not a lot of people don't do all these things at once. You see that this is different, especially in bigger companies. Different people do different things. But here's a quick example of what logs look like. So if you're going to be a security analyst in your life as your entry-level job, get ready to go and see things that look like this. In this case, let's go back to our security onion and I'll show you another one that is interesting. Let's go to our security onion and look at PCAP. PCAP is a very important aspect of most people in security in networking. In this case, I can show you what PCAP looks like. Security onion comes with the ability to show you PCAP in real time of, oh, this is what happened. In this case, this is a different attack that I was looking at, but we can generate PCAP from the traffic that we generated today in our hunt interface here. And I can show you, and this is very, very important, right? And remember, our goal today is to show you what's possible. And here is all the noise that we made. So if we wanted to see PCAP for this particular attack here, for this CVE that we're looking at, we can go here and say, I want to know what really happened here, guys. Again, you can read here, but give me a PCAP. So show PCAP for this event. This will pivot by itself. And for those who are very experienced in cybersecurity, you know this is gold, right? Having the ability to just pivot from an event to a PCAP file, to be able to download the PCAP file, load it in your Wireshark, and just go to town and figure out exactly what happened at the packet level. That's just gold. I mean, that's really, really good stuff. So if you go to my PCAP here, I should now have my PCAP that I just requested. Let's go back to my hunt interface here. I can't tell if my pickup showed up or not, but you can get pickup. So as you can see, having a lab is really, really critical if you're motivated enough and you want to learn. This lab that I'm showing you here as part of my demonstration, I actually use it a lot for just other things that I want to pursue. There's one job that we're waiting for my pickup here. I also show you how to create this lab from scratch on my channel, from the very first video up to having Security Onion running. I think 10 or 11 videos that go in depth, showing you how to set up the firewall, showing you how to deploy ESXi. The beauty of it is all of these things are 100% free, except for the hardware, which you might need a server or a decent PC to run all these things. But that's an investment that you're going to be investing in, and you can find cheap hardware somewhere out there. So here's a pickup for the event that we were talking about. Here's a 4-way handshake, SYN, ARC, you know, all that stuff. If you did a little bit of networking, and now you can see what happened. You can drill down in here. My favorite way, up here, download pickup. I want to be able to read this in Wireshark because I've been using Wireshark. So let's open it in Wireshark. And you see that it's a real pickup. So this is some fun stuff that we can do. I'm conflicted whether I should actually finish the attack or not. Part of me wants to finish the attack. Part of me wants to analyze the logs. You see the conflict here. And as you can see, now this is where Wireshark is saying, here, will remind me later. Here's what you can see in Wireshark. Then learning Wireshark is a whole different ball game where you can actually spend 6 hours learning Wireshark and being really good at it. If your goal is to really break into cybersecurity and you haven't spent a day working in cybersecurity, this is something that you are most likely going to be asked, like, hey, have you used Wireshark? Have you, because you as a security analyst, you're going to be reading pickup at some point, for sure. I can tell you that. So this is a good thing to do. And guess what? We're just getting it straight from Security Onion. So that's what we have here. I just wanted to show you on this Facebook group the full circle of what having a home lab for someone who wants to seriously learn, someone who's serious, not someone who just wakes up and says, I just want to get a job and make money. Someone who is passionate about cybersecurity and who want to take the responsibility in their hands and saying, you know what, employers are not going to hire me by just showing up with my resume and teach me everything. I'm going to show up with my resume and saying, guess what? I haven't spent a day in the SOC environment, but this is what I have done. And I know if I could do this by my own, if you put me in your security operations center today, I'll be able to read pickup and I can tell you some indication of go bust attacking directories. I can tell you a CVE being caught in action. I can tell you at least if a file was downloaded from a site, I can go to use online tools and follow up on pickup data to see what happened. I can read that. That person is likely to get hired. That is the person that most employers are actually looking for, than someone who sits here and says, it's hard to get a job, my fault, there's nothing I can do about it. A lot of people like to complain. Cybersecurity people, they discriminate a lot. Just because I haven't worked in security, so they won't even look at me. They're not looking at you because you're not also taking initiative. When you are applying for a job, you put this on your resume. You say, skills. I have worked with pickup. I've done this. Then you put maybe an asterisk and say, by the way, I did this in a lab. They'll call you and say, so I see you said pickup and you mentioned lab. What are you talking about? That gives you a moment to shine. You say, oh, by the way, I picked this machine from VownHub called Raven. There was a WordPress site that was running there, and I'm spanning the traffic for the attack using a switch to Security Onion, and I was able to actually observe what that looks like. Last Sunday, we attacked Shellshock. You can say, oh, I was able to observe Shellshock in action and see it. I was able to see how much noise attackers can generate once they get on your network. Or I set up an Active Directory environment that I'm monitoring logins, that I'm monitoring password resets. And by the way, we're actually doing that in this lab. In this lab, if somebody is changing passwords randomly, we have a Grafana dashboard that is monitoring the password resets. And we set up, we're actually going to set up alerts that if we see 100 resets within the 30-minute period, let us know. Or if you see passwords getting locked out in 10 minutes, more than 20 passwords, more than 20 accounts, let me know. Maybe somebody's trying to knock my accounts down. Things like that. That will get you hired compared to somebody who is just showing up, hope for the best. I'm not saying you can't. That happens if you know somebody. If you're someone like me who didn't have a lot of connections in the United States, I had to take it by myself to say, hey, by the way, take a chance on me. This is what I can do. And that's why this is important. That's what I wanted to emphasize here. Says, I just woke up, said because some of my videos in YouTube about web security and hacking are age restricted. Oh yeah, some of my videos, YouTube is not nice to us. As people who make content, they age restrict our videos. And by the way, I don't make money from YouTube. Hacking videos, they don't encourage, they get flagged. They think that we're teaching people how to hack. They don't know that we're doing something nice to help people actually learn. So YouTube is, they need to really mature their content out there. They're blocking other people's channels, and my YouTube channel might even get blocked. So either way, subscribe, because we need to create a bigger community there as well. All right, so I showed you Security Onion and what you can do and what we have here. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, subscribe to my channel as well. But before I go to sleep, it's 11:38. I want to finish what we started, right? Let's finish this attack. Let's get a foothold here. Let's at least, you know, get somewhere. So we ran a WordPress here, WP scan, and I want to make sure I know where I was here to make sure that we can get there. We ran WP scan on our machine, and then we also have SSH running. So WP scan didn't find anything for me, but let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. History. Let's grab nmap. What did I do today? Really? Let's run this one. Let's run our nmap one more time. I closed it, but I just want to show you what else we had. And then while nmap is running, let's open a new tab and get into our system. Sudo su. This is what we're going to use to get into our target. We have port 22 open, and this is SSH. And in this case, we didn't find anything with WordPress. What I would do is this right here. What I did. It's not encouraged. So, and I don't encourage you to do it on Hack the Box, which is a hacking platform. You can run something like this, where you can say, okay, guys, let's just brute force this thing. I'm getting frustrated. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything interesting. In this case, I have two ways I was brute forcing. I think this was a different machine. I was using nmap to brute force. This is something that I had not done in a long time. I just wanted to generate a lot of traffic, and I had a username and password. Or the easiest thing that you can do is, people are lazy. You'll be surprised how many people just leave things to chance. If you run WP scan with the API, you'll notice that you get two users. There's two users there, and one of them is Michael. You get that if you use the API. So if you say SSH, and in this case, we're saying we want to try Michael at our target 192.168.38.20. People are lazy. So if you see and you enumerated a service and you got some users, in this case, we got Michael, try the obvious. This sounds a little dumb, but actually it's true. Try the obvious. Michael. You could have done a lot more research on Michael now that we saw that Michael is a user. Is Michael part of the website? Is he one of these team members? If he was one of these team members, we'll probably have his last name as well. I don't think he's here. We have gone to his Facebook page, try to find out what is Michael talking about on his Facebook. Does he like a certain type of dog? Can I generate a word list with Michael's dog as part of the word list for brute forcing? Does he like certain things like football team? Let's go to LinkedIn. What is Michael into? We can generate a word list, at least a smart word list. Then we can also use a tool called SEWL, I cannot pronounce it, to generate a word list from this website. And that's another tool. This is the name, SEWL, for generating a word list. That's a Ruby app that we can use. Generate a word list. Do something smart other than using default word list here to try to brute force. But in this case, if we use the password Michael, because Michael is lazy, he used his name as password. Imagine. We get in. I know, it's a cheap shot. A lot of people are like, well, come on, give us a break. Yeah, this machine is that dumb, right? We found this name by using WP scan with our API. And after getting frustrated, you try the obvious. Michael admin, Michael and his last name, Michael and his dog's name, Michael and his favorite team's name. Maybe try summer 2020. What is it? The other one, winter 2020, spring 2020, or 2020 election. Something. Put it in here. You know. So now that we're in here as Michael, the first thing that I do is sudo -l. Why do I run this command? This command is going to tell me if I can or cannot do certain things as root. And our password Michael. Sorry, Michael cannot do anything. We are not in luck here. So we need to find another way. What are we trying to do here? We're now trying to escalate our privileges. If this company here has host-based intrusion detection, it will pick that somebody tried to run a command as sudo and it failed. This will be logged somewhere. A security administrator will be able to look at this log and say who was trying to run the sudo command and failed, and what were they trying to do. Given all the other noise and seeing this, now somebody who is a security administrator will be like, wait a second. First, they were running nmap scans. Second, they're now trying to run as sudo. 2 and 2 together, they got in. Now somebody is sweating. They're worried about their job, and they're probably worried about what really happened, and they're really going to investigate this further. Can I run clear here? Yeah, I can. So I don't have problems with my shell, which is really good. So now that we're in here, let's do what normal people would do, right? Or maybe not. We are running WordPress. Let's keep that in mind. WordPress is notorious for also having its configuration file stored somewhere on the server. So let's go to cd /var /lib www. Is that a place I can go to? No, I cannot go there. I don't know why I'm thinking lib is a good one. Okay, so there's multiple flags apparently. I'm not even looking for them. So let's cat that one. Text. So where's flag 1? Okay, so here's a flag. So there must be flag 1, 2, and more maybe. So we need to find these flags. Let's do the smart thing here. Let's use a wildcard. I'm looking at my cheat sheet here. I can use wildcards to find flags here. Okay, here it is. I think I found it. I can use grep -we. Forget the flags. I want to get root. I don't want to spend too much time on the flags. Was this might not work. Let's look in here. What do I have? cd html. What do I have in here? I should have a WordPress directory for sure. But you also want to look in here. Some people would have a .backup file in here, especially when you hack the box. Backup files will be in here. I've seen that. Here's a directory called security doc. You might want to look into that one, but let's go to WordPress. In here, I'm looking for WP config. You may be wondering, oh, how do you know that? I've attacked so many WordPress doing CTFs on Hack the Box and VounHub to know that this directory exists in most WordPress configuration files. So that's how I know. And I also know that WordPress has a SQL directory database that it runs. Anybody who has attacked WordPress will tell you, yeah, those are the things you should go and look at. Some people will even just run SQL map on here and just go straight for it. And I'm just showing you the manual way to do it. Probably the painful way to do it for most people that are looking here. wp-config.php. Let's see. Can I do that? wp-config-php. I'll show you why I'm using VI. All right, so now we're in a WordPress configuration file, and here's another thing you shouldn't do, right? Look at this one. Look at this one. Here's the database password, right in your face as an attacker. This is like gold, right? Now you're like sitting here looking at a database password. You're like, seriously, guys? This is just not cool. This is not cool. So let's take a moment to pause here. What can you do as a someone who's maybe implementing an application in your environment, right? You're tasked to develop a secure web app, whatever application. Maybe let's sort these things. Let's not put passwords in plain text. Is that too much to ask of people? Maybe not, but in this case, we're in luck. We see here's a database password, and we have a MySQL database that is running, and the password is Raven Security. I need to save this somewhere, because this is a good finding, right? I will probably save this as a screenshot. Let me just drop it here, because I may need it. I will need it for sure. You know what? I will just move everything that I'm going to do from now on to a new tab. That way, I can go back and forth between these two. All right, so we found a WordPress clear text password. Our next thing is, let's just enumerate this WordPress site. So many things that we can do here. We know that it's running a SQL database. A tool called SQL Map can be used here to automate this process that I'm about to do. You can just run SQL Map. Here's a username, here's a password. Go at it, enumerate all the databases, find me some users, find me some hashes if they're sitting in there, and let's go to town. And that's what we're going to do here, right? And by the way, this is not getting logged by Security Onion because I don't have a host-based intrusion detection agent or anything running on this. So this is just us messing with the target. But for now, let's sign into our SQL database that we found. We found a database here with a password and a user root. And when this happens, and this is a MySQL database, we can just sign in because we are already in there, right? So let's SSH as Michael again at 192.168.38.20. And Michael is at the password. All right. So now let's see here. I have to find out my syntax for my MySQL. So it's MySQL or SQL, however you put it. I want my user to be root. That's what we found. And my password, I want to specify it. And there is where copy paste might be my friend. And if I get in there, I just need to know a few commands to run in SQL. Why is it important? Okay, we got in. Why is it important now that I need to know a little bit about SQL? You don't even need to be an expert here. You just need to know your way. For SQL, it's mostly, do they have PHP-MyAdmin? If they have PHP-MyAdmin, you can go and do it from PHP-MyAdmin or another web interface. Or in here, we need to find a few things. We need to find, first and foremost, show me more databases. I know that there's a WordPress database here, but just in case they renamed it, oh, come on. I think I can do that. See why having the syntax right. Show databases. And here is my databases. I have MySQL, I have a WordPress. My interest is, I need to know, do I have more users in the WordPress site? And do I have more admin users, to be specific? And if I have admin users, can I see their hashes? SQL Map will automate that for you, but here, let's do it manually. So we have a WordPress site, so we can say use WordPress. So you're learning something about databases right now, right? So now we changed our database. Now we're using WordPress as our database. So now we can say show tables. What tables do I have for these databases? We know the normal sequence is WP users. Oh, isn't that interesting? We also have other things like posts. So let's go to where we think things are interesting, right? Let's go to users. And here's a quick, simple one. Select all from users and close. If you have seen my videos on YouTube where we were attacking WordPress, we can monitor our WordPress, our SQL databases for the monitoring part using Kibana, and this will be logged. When somebody's in here running these commands and they're accessing certain directories, this can be logged. People can see this if they have monitoring in place. And usually they want to know. So as an administrator, when you get to work in the morning and you're drinking your coffee, you look at your logs and like, wait a second, someone was running commands in my database at 2 a.m. when we were all sleeping. What is going on? So people do monitor this. Okay, see what I'm doing here? I'm talking too much. WP_users. Okay, there we go. And ding, ding, ding. We are in luck. At this point, it's game over. I mean, we have owned this machine. Why do I say this? Look at this. Here is our users, Michael and Steven. And is this Steven Seagal? Yeah, that's okay. And here are the password hashes. This is just a game over now. We have users with password hashes. Guess what we do with password hashes? We crack them. So we're going to crack this hash right now as part of our finale. For those who know how to crack password hashes, you're probably thinking of different tools like how do I crack password hashes? You have tools like John. You know what? I'm lazy. I'm not even going to use any of these tools. Let's go online and crack this hash. I don't even know. Okay, yeah, let's go online. Let's be lazy. Online password cracker. I don't know what to Google. That should give me something. CrackStation. Let me know in the comments what your favorite online cracking tool is. Oh, crap. You know what's happening here? You know what's happening here? I think I know what's happening. Our friend, this is security in action. You guys are watching security in action. Is this thing right here is what's causing my CrackStation not to be accessed. In particular, it's policies. This thing has terrible policies that are enabled, but it's set to permissive. I can set policies in here under my configuration to tell that I don't want to see certain things. And right now I'm using the online threat levels. So it detected me accessing CrackStation as a bad thing. This is a next-gen firewall in action, catching me accessing potentially bad traffic. So I think we should be able to go to CrackStation. Let's go back there. We should be able to do that. If we can't, then I might have to... Really? Come on. It's my next-gen firewall. CrackStation is usually accessible. It's my next-generation firewall in action. I might have to disable that. Or we might have to just crack our passwords by ourselves. But what about this one? Can I get lucky? This is just an article. Let's go back to CrackStation. Come on. Now I'm blocking myself. Okay, fine. I'll do it the manual way. I guess a lot of people are happy that my CrackStation is not working. CrackStation is a place where you can go and crack passwords. My next-gen firewall doesn't like it. I set it up with policies. I'll show you this weekend. I have a video that I'm going to show you how to set it up. By the way, it's free, 100% free. and it's blocking me because I told it to block hacking sites, I guess. Oh, that's something I need to find out. Why is my next gen firewall blocking crack station? Let's try it from here, new incognito tab. I'm on the same network, so I'm expecting the same results, but hey, you never know. Oh yeah, it doesn't like it at all. That is this guy here. In particular, this little tool here called Sensei. That's okay. We can go past that. Let's go to our Kali Linux and do this the old-fashioned way, the real way for real attackers. Let's crack passwords here. First, let's create a file called pass.txt or something like that. All right. So let's go ahead and get this here into our. Oh, I don't want to crack Michael because I'm already signed in as Michael. Let's use Steven. Let's copy that and go to our tab. We're going to crack this manually. And hopefully we don't take, this shouldn't take too long. Let's go and crack it manually. What happened in my tab? Oh, here it is. Steven. And insert something in here. Let's paste the password. So, okay, so here I have my file with Steven and the user. What tool should we use to crack this password? Okay, so if you say cat pass.txt, this is all we have in that file. What should we use here? Should we use John? Should we use anything else? Let's use John. If you don't know John, here's how you get to find out. Just one John here. It will show you the format. John is a password cracking tool that we can use. And here's the usage here. And honestly, if we say John, give me a password from pass.txt, no password hash is loaded. So what this tells me is that my syntax is not right for John. John doesn't like my syntax. So let's go back in there and fix that. vi pass.txt. John doesn't like my syntax because if you read about John a little bit, you find out that John likes the passwords to be like this. And I just made a mistake there. So let's do it again. Let's send John to crack the password. You know what? John, crack the password for me. Loaded one password hash, first phrase. Oh, come on. What am I missing here? Loaded one password hash, passphrase, that. Let's look again in this password file. Yeah, this looks good. I have Steven $$. I'm just checking the usage for John here. If anyone knows how to use John properly, let me know what I'm missing here. But this looks good to me. Okay, let's do it this way. Escape. And insert. Let's try it again. Let's copy it and paste. Maybe we're just missing something here. Paste. Escape. Maybe. Okay, so there was my syntax was wrong with John, and after copying and pasting it, now we're cracking the password. Let's see if this is going to finish it. Otherwise, guys, this is just something that we are doing, and if you joined us late, please consider subscribing to our channel. It's called IT Security Labs on YouTube. And pretty much what we do there is set up this lab here, and this is going to take a little bit here to crack. And what we do on this channel is we set up a security onion lab. We were able to see, as you can see up here, this is when we were doing brute forces using GoBuster. And here are the attacks that we were able to see happen in real time, especially if we narrow down to the last 2 hours or so. We'll be able to see the attacks that we did and the amount of noise that we did. This is just awesome stuff. We can see this in Security Onion. This is a pickup of one of the, us just looking at GoBuster. I think this was one of the scans that we did, and we can see pickup here. I also showed you that the same pickup can be put in Wireshark. It's just depending on which one you're comfortable with, but you can read here. We're able to catch a ton of attacks. And here, this thing doesn't like this. Let's see why. Let's remove that. This is our Security Onion lab. We're able to sign in. It's set up all in VMware ESXi. And here are the alerts. Let me show you the noise that we generated. We generated a ton of noise here, and we just picked on one of these. You can spend a lot of time here looking at all these. These are the alerts that we generated when we were doing the CTF machine, and this is what you as a security analyst would be interested in looking at. We didn't look at other components like CyberChef here. Actually, we could have just used CyberChef to crack our password. Duh! Next time, remind me, guys, if I do something like this. We can use CyberChef here to do most of these things without going too far. Like I could have maybe checked what it is here. Maybe, yeah. Then we can also pivot to Kibana. We can look at these logs in real time. We did that today. If you want to see this in action, go to our YouTube channel. We do this all the time during live streams on Sundays at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is business as usual. We attack a machine. We pick on one log that we want to look at. That's what we do to make sure that we learn hands-on. All right, so John is still cracking. I want to see the new password so we can sign in as a new user here. So we can actually become root. This doesn't end until we become root, guys. So we need to crack this. We need to finish what we started. And we still have time. All right, so within here, we found out that we make too much noise. We need to be careful as pen testers, for those who are interested in ethical hacking, which tools we run in people's networks. Don't go and run default Nmap scripts on your engagements. Maybe you want to be more stealth. Maybe you want to use Nmap, or you want to use other tools maybe that are more stealth than just saying, oh, I got access to a network. Let me just Nmap minus SV minus SC target. You'll be caught by a default installation of Security Onion. It's a sad day for you as a pen tester. So don't do that. Maybe you're interested in learning how to create these rules. This will be a good way to get your feet wet. You get in here and really dig into these rules and say, wait a second, what does it look like when these rules are detecting? How do they detect? In this case, with Security Onion, we have the playbooks here, by the way, which we're not covering, but just wanted to show you. You can spend more time here with the plays. People make careers out of just creating these plays and really becoming really good at it. Or you can just really spend some time with Security Onion and drill down into things as a security analyst. And as an analyst, you can be like, whoa, let's look at this log here. What happened? This is like an autopsy of the events, right? What fired? Who is talking to who? What noise did we generate? In this case, it's a GET request that we see right here that fired, that got caught by this rule in this category right here, attempted administrator gain. And who got caught? Our friend Nikto, which is a tool that we just ran. So maybe don't run Nikto when you want to be hiding. Those are the things that we do. All right, let's check here. So we're still running John. This is why I wanted to avoid John. John will crack this password, by the way, for our user. And the reason why this is slow, I have a password cracking machine. It's my old gaming desktop. It's in my basement. I usually use it. I don't have access to it right now because I'm in a lab. I have a password cracking dedicated machine with a nice graphics card, and enough 24 gigs of RAM, this would have finished. So once you do this too often, you might have yourself a cracking machine. Right now I'm cracking in a VM and I'm streaming from this VM and I'm running all kinds of crazy stuff. This will crack the password though. Let's give it a minute. All right, I just wanted to answer any questions that people might have for me from what we have covered so far today. Let me know if you're curious about something that we covered, something that you want to see going forward. We don't normally come live on YouTube. I mean on Facebook. I do live streams on our YouTube channel. So make sure to go over there and support me and also other people as well. We do this every Sunday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. This week has been stressful with all these things that have been happening. So I was feeling an itch to just crack a machine. And I was like, oh, why don't we just go live and show people what to do? But if you have any questions, let me know. And it looks like people really like this stuff. 104 people liked this. More people liked this stuff. And a lot of people turned up. So maybe we can keep doing this. And let me know which parts of this you like the most. The attacking part, the defending part, all of it. All right, while John is cracking, let me show you a quick overview of the lab. Here is a very, very, very terrible network diagram that we have. But hey, better than not having a network diagram. If you've been in other networks that are not documented, it's annoying. Here's an easy diagram. Here's our firewall. Our firewall is this guy who is blocking me from going to crack station. It's a next gen firewall. This does packet filtering, SSL decrypting, and all the good stuff. People spend thousands of dollars on this firewall here. We have it for free, open source. I'm going to show you how to set it up this weekend. So watch out on our YouTube channel for a video on this. So that's what we have. Firewall. We have a switch. Our friend here, very cheap switch, under $50. You might even find it for $30. D-Link. So this lab doesn't have to be expensive. A D-Link switch. What I was looking for, port mirroring. Why do I want port mirroring? Because I want to send this traffic to Security Onion. I don't have money to buy a network tap for $200. I'm on a budget. A switch, that's why we have this switch here, a port mirroring traffic. And then we have a server. This server, we wanted something that we can really go nuts and crazy and actually deploy things that look and behave like the way it's doing right now. Very stable. It's a simple, cheap Dell R720 server for under $300 off eBay. And this one is 128 gigs of 120 gigs. Oh yeah, it's 128 gigs of RAM and 12 cores. And I mean, this works well and we can deploy more things here, more malnets. So expect more machines here. And as you can see, we're even going crazy with Ansible. Now we want to automate a bunch of things in here. We don't want to do things over and over again. So Ansible here. So expect more automation coming your way. Right now we have a playbook that builds our Elasticsearch for us, the whole cluster from the beginning, and it installs Wazoo for host-based intrusion detection. I'll be sharing that with you. I actually have a version of that on my GitHub. And we have an Active Directory environment that is actually being monitored, like our login attempts. That's what's running on this server right here. And more things are going to come there. And obviously we have our Security Onion. So that's what we're working on here. Let's go here and let's see. All right, so this is taking forever, and I'm not a big fan of waiting. Maybe I should have specified some threads. All right, take my word for it. This does crack the password. I don't want to keep you guys waiting. It's not good use of your time. But let's sign in with the user that we found that this is going to crack. Remember, this is John. John is cracking the password using the default ones. Forget watching John. John finds the password. Let me find my notes here. All right. John finds the password for Steven. And Steven's password is pink84. You know what? It's really bothering me. Don't be like me. Don't get caught into these things. Let's just crack Steven's. Someone who probably knows a better way to put threads here so I can run multi-threads. I don't have that memorized right now, but let's SSH as Steven. 8.192.168.38.20, and it's pink 84, and we're in. And here's our good friend limited shell. I bet here I cannot even clear my screen, can I? Oh, I can. So I'm not going to even I hate this. I hate limited shells. Let me show you what I do. Do I have my how to escape shells here? Reverse shells? Yeah, I do. So here's what I have. And this, as you can see, I'm going to have problems with my quotes. So I might need to fix that. But if I use this here, I should be able to get a better shell here. And these are not right. You see? Oh, I can't fix it. I cannot even fix it. That is not cool. Let's fix them. Let's cancel that. Cancel. So my quotes will not work. They'll error out. So what I need to do is fix them. Let's copy that. Let's paste it again. Let's put our own here. I learned this the hard way. So now if I copy this, I should be able to go in here and fix my limited shell. All right. Let's see if that fixes it. Another little thing that you probably learned today. Oh no! You didn't like that. Come on. Really? You didn't like my fix? All right. Forget about it. Sudo -l again. Let's see. Can I run things as root here? Oh, look at that. I can run Python here. It's root. Here is where things get interesting. And I'll show you. This is what I do. When I do a sudo -l and I get some results, I literally go to Google and say, the reason why I do that is because I want to find out I don't even need to type the whole thing. Do I have privileges escalation with this Python? And here is an article from Payload of All Things, Hacking Articles. Let's use this one. You probably have this one bookmarked by now. I have a bookmark for it. I just want to show you where to find the information. This is an article that shows you if you see Python, this is what you do. So there's no real skill here, but other than, well, there is a skill, hacking, all right? Can I search for that? No? Python, really? Okay. Allow root. Okay, here. That's one. That's not what I'm looking for. Spawn shell, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for sudo. So let's see if I can. Spawn root shell, sudo -l. Didn't we get something similar to this? Yeah, we did. Let's see. Is that the only one? I might be on the wrong one. Let's go to the first article. I need something. Yeah, right there. Command F. I need to find out how do I escalate my privileges using Python. Oh, somebody's trying to help me. We can do this, guys. Okay. All right, there we go. Something is interesting. I see some stuff. Let me see here if I'm getting any help. Interesting. So all we need to do now is escalate our privilege and make sure that we can become root. My YouTube channel name is called IT Security Labs, just like this page. I created this Facebook page, and I also created a YouTube channel called IT Security Labs. That's the YouTube page. Now this is bugging me. I know I've seen it somewhere. This is where my cheat sheet really becomes useful. Linux using sudo writes. This right here has it all. Right here, this is where it should be. Okay, it explains everything here and that you need to know. So go to the hacking articles that I'm looking at here, and I should see the Python one. Let's try the one that we saw for Python here. I think this is it. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice if we just became root by just finding this sudo? I think that is it. Oh, we're in money. We are in money. All right, so you learned something today. If you run sudo -l and you see that you can run Python, do sudo and run the Python import module, and you should be able to get it. So we hacked the machine here. We are now root here. Can I do an ls? Can I find a flag in here? I should be able to find a flag. Yeah, cat flag 4. Let's see. All right, guys, we did it. So thank you for helping me. I was like, I wanted to show people where I find that information that is not some guesswork. Once you do sudo -l, that's why it's the first command that I run is to make sure that I see. So to escalate our privileges, we found this sudo -l, and we saw that we can run Python as root from this or no password right here, and we do the sudo, and we imported the Python module. And for that, I went to these hacking articles right here, and we were able to get root. So that's it, guys, from me. Thank you very much for joining. Let me put my YouTube here so people can see what. No, cancel that. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's called IT Security Labs, and expect content like this. Expect some fun. Hacking and learning cybersecurity is not painful. It's some fun things that we can do. It's extremely fun. It can be addicting. It can consume your whole being. You need to take care of yourself because it is really fun. As you can see, we didn't even spend time looking at this. Subscribe to my channel. Give me some thumbs up over there. Let everybody know about my channel. Let anyone who can find value in this and give me some thumbs up too. But this is what we did so far. Just as a quick recap for those who joined late. I'm just going to summarize what we did. I went through the process of how do you get started with a lab, and I did explain that you need to go to indeed.com or a job board, figure out what employers are looking for the skills that you're after. In this case, we found out that these people are looking for scripting, Active Directory, networking. They spoke about monitoring and all that stuff. And we said a security engineer role is something you might be after. And the security engineer role is somebody who's going to be a little bit more well-rounded. And then you learn a little bit about Active Directory by deploying Active Directory in this network here. You will learn about network security monitoring from our Security Onion with our trusted friend Kibana and our Grafana interface here. You spend some time learning networking pretty much and some data. We also went through attacking a machine called Raven from the beginning. We did some Nmap scans, and we found out that as we did Nmap and GoBuster and Sparta and all those things, Security Onion here went crazy, went nuts. And we learned a few things here that if you just start running scripts in people's environments, it's sad. It's a sad day for you as an attacker, as a pen tester. You're going to get caught by a default installation of Security Onion, and that is not cool. And you should, as an attacker, test your tools in here. Do I get caught if I run this? Run it against Security Onion in a lab. So if people are using this, maybe you probably don't want to be doing that. And as a defender, you learn that you can find more about PCAPs. You can investigate here using the Hunt interface, which we didn't spend too much time on, but you can use the Hunt interface. You can download PCAPs here. You can literally download PCAP and understand what's going on from an event that we generate. And then we also, so that our trusted friend here, our firewall, is actually working, because it will not let me access certain tools online, because I have this next gen open source free firewall in our lab deployed. To me, this is the highlight of the lab. You have a next gen firewall, you have a security onion intrusion detection system, you are spanning the traffic from a switch. It shows a certain level of understanding of these tools, but also it gives you a huge platform to learn pretty much a lot of things that people learn over the years doing this in an environment. So subscribe to our channel, give me a thumbs up here, and also let me know on our channel in the community group what content you are interested in. Build the lab with us. I have 10 videos that show you step by step on how to build this lab. I respond to a lot of comments of people get stuck deploying the lab, and I show you everything. So this is really good. And also spend some time on Hack the Box if you don't have time to build a lab. I've cracked more than 50 machines on Hack the Box, and that's where I picked a little bit of these skills that I'm semi-confident demonstrating to you guys. So thank you very much for joining me. I will try to upload this long stream to YouTube as well. So if you missed the first part, you can watch it there. Otherwise, subscribe, and I will see you next time.